Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to this week's news roundup. Coming up, I'll be going over a few news stories that have been doing the rounds over the last few days, and if you are interested in a specific story, there are timestamps in both the description and pinned in the comment section. Kicking us off then, and following the Monaco Grand Prix, rumours began swirling around the F1 paddock regarding Sebastian Vettel's future, with some reports even claiming that he was considering retirement as early as the end of the 2019 season. It was a topic that I discussed with Chamber and Arav during last week's podcast, and the three of us all pretty much agreed that there wasn't an awful lot in this rumour. And ahead of the Canadian Grand Prix, the four-time world champion has now dismissed the 2019 retirement reports. Speaking to Auto Build, Vettel kept it short, but the quotes pretty much tell us all we need to know. "I have no plans to stop. I still have lots of fun and I still have something to do at Ferrari. We want to try everything again this season to bring about the turnaround, and the Canadian Grand Prix should be the beginning." Short but sweet, I guess, there from Sebastian, but for the moment at least he has no intentions of retiring. It is worth noting that his current deal does not expire until the end of 2020. I mean, it hasn't been the easiest of starts for the German this season, as he and therefore obviously the team are still winless, and they really have struggled to take the fight to Mercedes so far in 2019. The Scuderia already sit a whopping 118 points behind the Silver Arrows in the Constructors, and that is after just 6 races. Vettel himself is also already 55 points adrift of championship leader Lewis Hamilton. I'm not going to sit here and call the Canadian Grand Prix a must-win for Ferrari because, let's face it, that's been the case since pretty much Baku. But they definitely need a big weekend in Montreal. Another man who apparently is not yet considering retirement is Lewis Hamilton, with the world champion saying that he feels he can do another 5 years in Formula One. Hamilton spoke to US talk show host David Letterman for the Netflix series My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, and that was during the W10 shakedown all the way back in February. As well as discussing his desire to continue in F1, the Brit also opened up about the mental challenges he's faced throughout his Formula One career. "Michael retired when he was 38. I'm 33. In my mind, I can definitely do 5 years. I am ridiculously determined to win. What really drives me, and I feel that somewhat the people I race against may lack, is that fire. I've got this opportunity. I could easily let go of it right now, but I feel like I would be squandering it if I didn't continue to improve, grow and push. I've got to keep going for as long as I can, basically until I'm not enjoying it." Mentally, you have these massive highs, wins and success, but then you have these massive come downs. You often do suffer from mental issues, instabilities, and keeping yourself together when you hit rock bottom. If you are lucky, you can find strength at rock bottom. It's about how you get up, not how you fall. Of course, just like Sebastian Vettel at Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes deal does not expire until the end of 2020, and so I'm not expecting there will be too much of a rush to sort out any extension. Whilst I'm talking about Hamilton, it is worth noting that the Brit has also said that he expects the Silver Arrows to introduce an upgraded power unit at this weekend's Canadian Grand Prix. Nothing official from Mercedes at time of recording, but we do tend to see power unit upgrades at this stage of the season, so it shouldn't really come as too much of a surprise. At Ferrari, however, Mattia Binotto has admitted that there are no significant upgrades on the horizon to try and help solve their early season problems. 2019 has not gone to plan so far for the Scuderia. Bit of an understatement there, and the team do believe that their main problem is that they can't get the 2019 tyres into the working range, and are now pushing to investigate possible new concepts to try and solve the issues. Apparently, it was initially planned that there would be big changes to their car for Canada, but if you remember, in an attempt to try and turn things around, they actually introduced those updates in Spain. As such, they now have nothing massively new for Canada. We know we are not competitive enough right now, and for the time being, we haven't got any more changes coming on the car that will have a significant effect on the problems we have encountered since the start of the season. However, the Canadian track characteristics present another different challenge, given that top speed, braking efficiency and traction are the main considerations. We arrive here ready to do our best and to put the mistakes of the last few races behind us. Now, Max Verstappen had previously said that he expects Ferrari to be strong in Montreal, and Mercedes boss Toto Wolff is predicting a challenging weekend for the Silver Arrows, as the track could well favour their rivals. Now, I feel like we've heard this somewhere before, so probably a comfortable 1-2 win for Mercedes this weekend. Moving on, and Renault have said that in a bid to try and make their way up the F1 pecking order, they are actually considering building a qualifying car for 2020. The team believe that their current challenger is a good baseline and can top the midfield by the end of the season, but according to managing director Cyril Abiteboul, the French manufacturer are weighing up whether or not it is worth prioritising single lap pace over tyre management. I think we are looking at 2 or 3 changes that are totally possible to do at this point of time and that can dramatically change the behaviour and the competitiveness of the car next year. The first is aero efficiency and the second is how you balance qualifying and the race, because in modern F1 it is all about qualifying. All tracks are almost like Monaco now, and there is a different pattern of development of the car if you want to focus on qualifying or focus on the race. If you want to prioritise qualifying over the race, you change your gear ratio. They are fixed in the regulations and that is not something we can change for this year. Then, the last point is the rake of the car. There is still time, it is not too late to change a number of parameters on the car. It is not a bad car, but that can be improved, so next year is a step from this year. Coming into this season, many expected Renault to be comfortably best of the rest, and some even predicted that they would be able to take the fight to Red Bull for third in the Constructors' Championship. To be fair, given their acquisition of Daniel Ricciardo, their tendency to improve year on year, and then throw into that mix the doubts over Honda in the winter, you can sort of understand why to a point. However, 6 races in, the French manufacturer sits 8th in the Constructors' Championship with just 14 points on the board. That being said though, with 2/3 of the season still to go, they are only 16 points behind McLaren in 4th, and there is still plenty of time for that to change. And finally, Pierre Gasly says that he cannot explain the thrill he gets from driving a Formula One car and knows that it is a privilege he doesn't take lightly. Gasly has definitely had a mixed start to 2019 and has struggled at times, which has led to a lot of speculation about his future with the team and in the sport. However, the Frenchman does appear to be settling in now at the main Red Bull team and has begun to show signs of improvement. Speaking to Mobile One The Grid, Gasly stated, "It's almost impossible to explain how much pleasure you get from driving a Formula One car. There are really few people in the world who are lucky enough to drive these cars, and for people who don't drive them, it is difficult to understand the feeling. If you describe the adrenaline, speed and the G's you get, it is just impossible to understand until they jump in the car. It is so fast." Just actually on Gasly's future, it is also worth noting that Helmut Marko has had his say on the reports that surfaced last week about Nico Hulkenberg being lined up as a replacement for the Frenchman. In fact, some reports even claim that negotiations have begun in Monaco. But Marko said, quote, "It is absolute nonsense. That is what I said to Gasly, who even called me about it." Look, there is no doubt that Gasly needs to make the step up if Red Bull are to challenge Ferrari for second in the Constructors' Championship this year. But as I touched on already, he is beginning to show signs that he is getting to grips with this car. However, he is still a pretty big 46 points behind teammate Max Verstappen. So definitely work still to be done. That is it then for this week's news roundup, but don't forget you can let me know your thoughts on any of the stories featured today in the comments section down below. Now, I will be back on Thursday with the Canadian Grand Prix preview, but in the meantime, don't forget you can follow me over on social media. The links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.